comes out on stage to reset. I said earlier on, Christmas is a time for family and fun and get-togethers and films, but it's also a time for storytelling. Many years ago, in 2005, the English composer Philip Lane wrote a piece called A Night Before Christmas, and it proved very popular. It came after, I suppose it's in the vein, a little bit in the vein of The Snowman, except without the pictures, without the beautiful animation of The Snowman. And he followed it up a number of years later with, guess what, Another Night Before Christmas. And we're going to perform that piece for you tonight with text by Carol Ann Duffy, and we've got a man who's about to come on stage now who can paint many, many pictures. We don't need any animation or any pictures to see the story that this man's silky, smooth voice paints for us. He can paint those pictures with 1,000 words. We'll be welcome, please, on stage to perform Another Night Before Christmas, Mr. Stephen Rea.
On the night before Christmas, a child in a house, as the whole family slept, behaved just like a mouse and crept on soft toes down red carpeted stairs. The Christmas tree posed with its lights in its arms, newly tinselled and baubled with glittering charms, flirting in flickers of crimson and green against the dull glow of the mute TV screen. An owl on an aerial had planets for eyes. The child at the window stared up at the skies and looked for a sign up above as the moon shone down like a gold chocolate coin on the town. The child, who was up and long out of bed, saw no visions of sugar plums in dance in her head. She planned to discover for once and for all if Santa Claus or Father Christmas was real. There were some who said no, he was really just Mum with big cushions or pillows to plump up her tum, or Dad with a red cloak and cotton wool beard, a whiskey or three down his neck for good cheer. So she took up position behind a big chair that was close to the fireplace. 4 stockings hung there. Quite soon there'd be 1 tangerine in each toe, and she'd be the child who would see and would know. Then a shooting star whizzed down from the sky, from the north. It was fizzling and smarting as it fell to the earth and groaned inside. Sleigh made of silver and gold, pulled by reindeer whose breath shivered out in the cold, with bells on their antlers and bells round the tooth. Then clatter! They landed on you-know-who's roof. Dasher! herself near the fireplace, had fallen asleep. So she missed every word that a voice, warm and deep, was saying above her as each reindeer's name was spoken and flared in the night like a flame. He was dressed all in red from his head to his toes. Also red was the Christmassy glow of his nose. His beard was as white as the flakes that fell down on the rich and the poor in this ordinary town. His eyes twinkled like tinsel and starlight and frost, and they knew how to give without counting the cost. He slung on his back a huge sackful of toys to lug down the chimneys of good girls and boys. Dasher snorted, and Blitzen pawed hard on the roof. They'd a long night before them, and that was the truth. But Santa had vanished. A puff of black soot burped out of the chimney, dislodged by his foot. All this noise woke the child who had fallen asleep, so she pumped up her head and made sure she could peep without being seen at whoever it was stood in the fireplace. Big wow! Santa Claus! Then she watched as the room filled with magic and light, as the spirit of Christmas made everything bright, and suddenly presents were heaped by the tree. But she didn't wonder, which one is for me? For the best gift of all is to truly believe in the wonderful night that we call Christmas Eve. When adults remember of all childhood's laws, this time in September will bring Santa Claus. Santa turned and winked at her, then disappeared with a laugh up the chimney, with soot in his beard. She ran to the window and watched as his sleigh took off from her roof as he sped on his way. And as long as she lived, she would never forget how he flew as the moon showed him in silhouette from rooftop to rooftop and called from his flight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."